The sun beat down on the training grounds, relentless in its heat, just as relentless was the schedule for the day. Bare feet striking the red dust, the thud of wooden staffs clashing, the shouted commands of the drill sergeant echoing across the compound. It had been 3 weeks since the king's elite guard had come for Prince Amadeo. 3 weeks of grueling training that had stripped away the prince's soft edges, leaving behind a raw, hard-edged warrior. Well, almost a warrior. There was still a trace of the pampered prince in the way his hair defied gravity, in the slight tremor in his hands when he gripped his weapon, but those were the only traces left. Amadeo ran, his lithe body a blur as he dodged between the trees. His chest heaved, not from exertion but from the effort of maintaining his balance. The drill sergeant had specifically told him to make it harder for himself, to use every trick in his arsenal to stay upright. And so Amadeo ran with uneven footfalls, leaping over roots, veering off balance, always keeping himself on the edge of falling. He sparred with boys twice his size, using all the lessons he'd learned in the past 3 weeks, all the pain, the sweat, the exhaustion. He grappled with one of the older boys, their bodies a tangle of limbs as they fought for position, for an advantage. Amadeo felt the satisfying crunch of knuckles against flesh, the sting of blood trickling down his arm. Pain was not avoided. It was embraced as a necessary companion, a badge of honor. Bruises and cuts became a familiar sight, as did exhaustion. By the end of the day, Amadeo's body ached in every familiar way. But there was a dull ache in his chest that had nothing to do with the training. He missed his life in the palace, the comfortable routine, the endless supply of hot meals, the soft beds. He missed his mother's gentle scolding, his father's proud smile. But as the days passed and the weeks rolled on, that dull ache in his chest slowly transformed into something else, something sharper, something fiercer. It was the ache of a warrior, the ache of someone who was learning to fight, to survive, to thrive in the most brutal of environments. For the first time in his life, Amadeo understood what it meant to be an heir to the throne. It wasn't about the privileges, the luxuries, or the comforts. It was about the responsibility, the duty, the sacrifice. He was no longer just a prince. He was a warrior prince, and his journey had just begun.